Hello and welcome to Sim.bc, where right now is 16:36 and it's time for... What is it time for? What is it time for? What is it time for? It's time for the SNR! It's YouTube's favorite show, everybody! It's the Saturday news and the recap. Hello everybody, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the SNR, as so particularly presented by yours truly, the host of this international channel view video project thing, SNR. Yeah, that project that we're doing. And if I'm a bit on edge, if I'm a bit, not that up and running as I usually am, maybe a bit loud, do you want to know why? Do you want to know why? Would you like to know why? Would you wish to know why? Well, why is because I just stood here for like half an hour reshooting and reshooting and reshooting to get some of the things right in this video, and then I realized that the microphone wasn't on. Yay, 2 thumbs fresh for that, mates. Isn't that just the best thing ever? When you try to keep a raw format, and you record like 5 minutes in until you realize that, wow, I'm totally going down the wrong rabbit hole here. I'm totally going down the wrong trail. Maybe because I cursed a lot. Maybe because I was taking a very defensive or either that or a very aggressive point of view in some of the articles. Just some things didn't seem to be right, and as I was looking them through, or rather I didn't have to look them through in order to realize that they were good or bad. But then I, made a cut that I thought, like, you know what, this is presentable. This isn't the best thing in the world. Robert Downey Jr. probably would have done a second take on this, yeah? But I thought that, well, you know what? This is gonna be, this is as good as it gets, yeah? I'm satisfied. Only to realize, yeah, when I imported the video and I was trying into the, software that I'm editing in, and I was trying to import the sound from the microphone, which is done separately, I realized, haha, well, surprise, surprise, microphone wasn't on. I know I'm making kind of a big deal out of this, but I've been standing here for approximately a cumulative 1 hour right now when trying to done this video. So without any further ado, mates, let's get into today's news, which are going to be amazing because I've been prepping for these 4 days, but that doesn't matter because we're still, even though it's raw, gonna make a bit of a hard cut here so that I can read through the notes. And now we're back, mates. Now, wasn't that intuitive and amazing for you? It's less than a half of a second. For me, it's like a minute. And today I'm just gonna rephrase you on some of the notes that I have over the last couple of weeks, or over the last week, that I thought had been really interesting. And as of today, it's not going to be that much about the, the news pieces itself. It's going to be about the discussion and the argumentation and the points of view and the perspectives that they do bring. And the, key aspect here is going to probably success story and how we view different success stories. So, beginning is Paytm's founder, India's happiest boss, is the first news piece, and this is covering that the guy from India, who is now 39 years old, had in 2010 created or founded the company Paytm that is nowadays backed by Alibaba and is worth some about $10 billion. And this is a online payment system service, as I understood it right, that's on the internet that has gone way out of line. Like, it's gone haywire. It's worth billions of pounds, billions of dollars. And what is important to keep in mind as we move forward with this perception? Is it what makes him the happiest boss in India? Probably not. That's not what we're going to focus on here. Is that a part of the reason for what we're going to focus on? Yes, it is. Because we're going to be talking about success stories. Now, him being happy and perceiving and a good entrepreneurial and funny vibe, has that helped him in his days? Most likely, yes. Based on the article, yes. Based on the website, yes. That has helped them throughout, developing the vision and the mission. But what we're gonna take up from this, the perspective that we're actually gonna work from, is that, or rather the point of view, the point that we're gonna take up, isn't really, as I said, the news piece in and within itself. It's rather that success stories like this one is happening all over the world. And I know. Some of you might be sitting at home and be saying like, but mate, we know that. We know that success stories is happening all over the world. And I would share your sentiment. I know that it's happening all over the world, but it's very rarely that I do see it in different news agencies where I do want to see them. For instance, when I went into the BBC News, I have targeted news from China and India, as you know, business news from those areas. Now, those aren't uploaded or refreshed as frequently as the ones from the UK, the US, or Europe in general, which kind of makes sense because it's a UK-based paper, which means that the UK information is going to be, you know, trumping everything else. Right? That's reasonable. However, it can go like a month before I get something new out of either China or you know, India from that particular news agency, which is kind of a shame because it actually shows off to the people in that country that in the UK a lot of the things happen. Same with the Swedish media. In Sweden a lot of things happen, but you know, as long as not an Englishman or a Swede has been, you know, involved in some form of success story outside of Sweden or the UK, the national media is probably not going to talk about it. It's the same when it's any form of crisis or anything, which is really bad in my opinion. As I've been talking about before, I'd see us as, you know, a global people. The internet is bringing us together. We're not just, you know, I'm just not a Swede anymore. I'm part of Scandinavia. I'm part of the world. That's how I see myself, right? Because I'm getting my information from so many widely distributed parts of the world. So I'm no longer seeing me as just a Swede, which means that I do want to get information and news from all types and all manners of places in the world, all different corners in the world. Yeah. See what I'm saying here? See what I'm getting at? So the point that I want to raise is that success stories does not only happen in Silicon Valley in the US and in the Scandinavia if you're looking at the EU, because we have an above average entrepreneurial spirit and innovation per capita. No, it's not only in these places, and China for that matter, or in Japan, depending on which industry you're talking about. It's not only in these places that these things do happen. No. It's all over the globe. It's all over the world that success stories are found and developed and getting backed by multinational corporations. And it makes sense because there will be needs that needs to be met in different parts of the world, right? That means that success stories are going to develop in the parts of the world where needs are obvious. Or where needs are apparent, which is like all over the globe where there's people. There will be needs that will need to be met. So, since I've been discussing this, you know, economics and stuff like that in school for the latest 3 years now, I thought that it would be interesting to raise this point of view because even though we actually know about this happening, it's not something that is highlighted. If I, for instance, asked you what is a good success story, you'd probably say Facebook just because of the testimony stuff that's happened last week. Sure, that is kind of true, or that is true. It's, you know, take that away. It is true. But it's sad in a way to see that it's only, people will mostly probably say like Amazon and Facebook and, you know, all of these other corporations that originate from the, you know, from the US, or IKEA, for instance, or Tesla, or Koenigsegg, or Volkswagen, or stuff like that, right? Because it's in close proximity. So that has something to do with it, I assure you, and I'm sure of it, that has a lot of something to do with it. But it's still important to realize and keep in mind that all over the world, all over the globe, there is these different success stories that is actually taking place. However, let's move on to the second piece of news, where I hope I can do this without a hard cut. Yeah, I probably can. Where Philip Beer, and I really hope I pronounce this. Oh, I'm gonna have a hard cut. As I said, where Philip Beer introduced, I was right. I need to trust my gut a bit more. Where Philip Beer is trying to implement a French store chain into the UK. And this guy has previously been the guy who introduced the Danish Tiger to the UK, which people were a bit critical towards, I'd say, based on the article, based on the different sources that they linked. That might be biased because of, well, the point of view that I determined that they had in the article. But they were kind of, at that time, they were still critical towards this, but it apparently turned out that the Danish Tiger actually opened up approximately 90 stores in the entirety of the UK, and it turned out to be really popular, which means that this guy, Philip Beer, actually introduced a new store chain back in, I don't know how long ago it was, like 20, 30, 50 years ago. Well, it wasn't that clear. I wasn't actually focusing on that part. However, this guy is now, yet again, and this is kind of the important part, trying to introduce a new store chain into the UK from France, and even though I don't really remember exactly what name it had, it was something along the lines with Toys R Us meets Mothercare. You probably know about it if you're from France. But that matters less. The point that I want to make up here, and the point that I was trying to target, is the idea that the media, the media and the different experts in and within the field is really critical towards this move, which is making me dumbfounded, right? Because I'm sitting here like a bellend, or I feel like one, when I'm sitting here reading the news piece, and I'll be like, why are everybody so critical? Why are everybody so mean, right? Because sure, I understand that it's the business world and they don't want to give him, false hopes, right? That there is a competitive industry, there is a competitive environment, and sure, it is competitive. But they shouldn't, be saying like, oh, we shouldn't do it. Which is my take from it, right? Because I got a couple of different news pieces reporting on this event, and most people had the the consensus that, well, it's very competitive, probably ain't gonna make it. Yeah, a very negative perception of this entire thing, which I thought was really bad, because the more competition, the better it is for the consumers. It felt like the articles had a real bias towards, the existing competition in the industry, or that they deemed that it wouldn't be better if we had more. And I was sitting here like, what you mean not good if we had more? Of course it's good if we have more. I'm of that mindset, right? Pure economics, probably pure economical view of it. Probably if you go into marketing and stuff like that, it's probably going to be different. But what I'm trying to say with this is the point of view, or the perspective that is raised with this, is that since the media is painting such a negative picture of this guy, and even though, if anybody would be introducing a new store chain into the UK or any given country, it's probably someone who has done that before, given that this guy, Philip Bjerre, has already introduced the Danish Tiger that seemed to be really popular. He probably has the network, he probably has the contacts, he probably has the capital, he probably has the resources, even though you can argue the capital and resources and network and contacts are the same thing. So let's say he has the network and he has the resources to bring in this new change. If anybody, he probably has them, right? And still they're negative towards this change. Towards this change. Now I can see that Toys R Us is having a bit of a struggle at the moment, and I don't think that Mothercare is something that is spiking either. Might be that they're focusing on that and that I misunderstood the entire thing, but it seems like the people importing store change into the UK seems to be a very negative perception, or met with a negative perception. And I can say, based on some of the news pieces that I've been seeing over the last weekend, or the last month actually, or last year, in Sweden, has been saying kind of the same thing, but for different reasons. Here's cultural reasons. People are saying like, don't invade our culture with new ways. And I'm like, dude, please, come on, grow up. Whilst in the UK, it's more of the case of, well, it's highly competitive. Would you really like to enter the industry? I mean, there is a bit of a competitive edge here, which I seem to be ludicrous to have that as an argument for why you shouldn't enter. I mean, that should be, they shouldn't, give him unrealistic dreams of how you can achieve something and then just shoot him down a couple of, weeks later when they say like, haha, I told you so. But they shouldn't be painting this picture so negatively either. I mean, just imagine this little girl or this little boy, gender and neutrality, they both have the same options and the same possibilities in life. Say that little Timmy or little Jenny, for instance, is sitting at home eating their cereal in the morning, and they're using their new flashy phone that they've gotten and reading the news, or in the paper like a maniac, because that apparently is still a thing. Papers. Yeah, that's how you say it. Papers in papers. Yeah, that's how you say it. By the way. Anyway, matters less. And they're sitting there in the morning reading on their phone and reading the news. And instead of getting this entire idea of, the American way, the American spirit, the American success story, the Swedish way, the Swedish success story, even though if there even is one, but we have a higher above average of innovation, so it probably is there. And the UK the same, where is the UK spirit of actually, the English dream? That's kind of, in my opinion, getting squashed with these kinds of, reportages, so to say, of different news media saying that, well, introducing something new in today's society probably ain't gonna work. Now, where is the entrepreneurial spirit in that? Shouldn't they actually, just shower this new guy, Philip Bjerre, in joy and saying that, wow, it's amazing, a new success story, it's gonna happen here as well. That's, more the perception that I would like to have. And then they probably could push that, better for the consumer, even though that's probably not the best marketing choice, no matter if you're a company or if you are a news agency. But that would mean that little Timmy or little Jenny will have this perception of, we can do it as well when we grow up. Or at least that's just my opinion. I'm really biased, but so are there in my opinion, So, plus minus, Anyway, we're moving into the more not so international but internal news of today's video. What has happened over the last week here at the show, here at the channel. And as you probably have seen if you've been following the daily upload schedule, is that we've gotten rid of the second camera angle for now. It's just a little experiment, you know, hold your horses, don't get too mad. It's just a little experiment, trying to see, is it easier to edit this? Is it marginally easier? Is it going to be amazingly easier? Is it going to have a large impact or a small impact? Will it get better? Will it get worse? And I can say honestly, right as of now, there has been times when I would like to have it, but also times when I've been really grateful that I didn't have it. So we're probably gonna roll on this experiment to the next SNR so that we have an entire week to actually evaluate this little project from, and then we're gonna move on from there. So we're gonna see this in conclusion in the next week. However, there has been another change as well, a bit of a, well, marginal one, as I said, might not even as marginal as the last one, but even smaller actually. And this is the idea that I've been ending some of my videos with some inspirational quotes, which, as you can imagine, in the long run isn't going to be a sustainable solution, because, well, me saying something that's inspirational and meaningful at the end of every video with a daily upload schedule, which means that it's about 100 days left, which means 100 quotes, 1 quote per day, yeah, that probably ain't gonna happen. So either I'm gonna do, as I said as of yesterday, just keep on digging the hole a bit deeper and saying stuff that isn't inspirational, which is a bit ironic with the entire idea being that it should be inspirational, or I could just drop it. But I'm saying I'm gonna leave you with this as of today: rather 2 socks in a drawer than 15 in the ceiling. Am I right, people? Am I right? Or on the roof, rather. Yeah, that's how you say it in English. Have a nice one, mates. I'll see you all tomorrow. And I really hope that the microphone was on now, otherwise I'm gonna cry.